Review copy provided by Nintendo. Well, thank you, Nintendo. I really appreciate it. If you live in or around the Northern California area, stay tuned to the end of the video for an important announcement regarding Arlopalooza 2018. Hello, my rallying friends. Arlo here, and today we're reviewing Mario Tennis Aces. Mario Tennis is inevitable on any Nintendo platform, so the real question is, does this entry serve up a fresh new take on the series, or does it strike out? That's a tennis term, right? Yeah, probably. Whoosh! See this right here? This was the last Mario Tennis game I played. It was also the first Mario Tennis game I played, and also the first Mario Tennis game, period. Mario Tennis was the only game I had on my Virtual Boy, and I spent many an hour on the court as Donkey Kong wearing a diaper, my back hunched and my eyes sweaty. So I don't really know where the series has been since then. I'm pretty much a newcomer. All I knew when Aces was announced was that it was the first tennis game to really get my attention, and I was especially excited to get my hands on it after the tournament demo. First, because I'm awful at naturally including it in the body of a review, let's get presentation out of the way. This game looks really good. I wouldn't say that it's quite on par with some of Mario's other outings, but resolution is high, character models are pleasant and animated decently well, and it all runs smoothly. The different environments are very pleasing, especially compared to what I've seen of past games. The core experience is nearly identical on most courts, yet even just the aesthetic differences really make the whole thing much more pleasant. The music, on the other hand, is pretty darn disappointing. It makes sense for like the main theme to use that da-na-na-na-na-na kind of sports show music, but the whole game uses it. Even the adventure mode. Grass place, ice place, lava place, doesn't matter. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Like, there's none of that spunky, well-composed Mario music that I've come to love. It's all just a boring mash of the same old kinds of tunes. This isn't some boring sports show. It's Mario Tennis. There's so much more they could have done with it. On to the really important stuff though, let's talk about that gameplay. It was clear from the first moments that this game is darn fun. The most immediately satisfying thing for me was how easy it is to hit the ball. If you hit the button early, you'll start to charge up energy and you'll swing automatically when the ball gets to you. Not only is charging up for more powerful shots very satisfying, but the movement slowdown while charging frees up the control stick for better aiming your shots. There are different kinds of shots you can do as well, depending on what button you hit, though the game doesn't do a great job of explaining their various uses outside of the adventure mode, and it took me quite a while to start using different ones. Beyond those basics, you build up energy as you play, which allows you to pull off all sorts of neat tricks. Zone speed slows down time so you can return shots that are too far to reach normally. Hitting R when standing on a star lets you do a zone shot where time freezes and you get to manually aim an extra powerful shot. Then if your energy gauge is full, you can do a special shot, which is like a zone shot, but you can activate it whenever you want. Your opponent can block these shots, but if their timing isn't perfect, they'll damage their racket, and if any player runs out of rackets, they lose the whole match. Then you've got trick shots, where you can flick the right stick to leap to the other side of the court for some last-second saves, but bad timing causes you to lose energy. Normal tennis is already a mind game, and all this other stuff injects a huge amount of extra strategy into the experience. It's about constant risk and reward. Do you want to save your energy for a special shot, or do you want to spend it on zone shots, or should you hold on to a little to protect yourself against their next zone shot with some zone speed? Should you risk breaking your racket to block their special shot? Should you forget about points and just try to aim at them and break their racket? You're constantly watching both energy gauges and making decisions on the fly, all the while trying to judge what they're going to do and where the ball's going to go and where you should be. It's really intense and always loads of fun. Once you step away from just the gameplay and start looking at the actual content of the game, however, things start to fall apart. The adventure mode was a really big selling point, seeing as it's something that fans have been asking for since Mario Tennis graced the GBA. Nintendo hyped it up ridiculously. First, let's go over what I liked about it. Well, most of all, I'm just happy that it exists. I'm glad Camelot decided to give it another go. I don't want to just play the same old tennis matches forever. In any game like this, I'm always happy to have some sort of challenge mode to change up the gameplay. Adventure mode here offers something of a story, varied environments, and interesting little challenges that are more than just playing tennis. And while it's a little disappointing that every boss follows the same basic formula, they're all undeniably fun. You can use trick shots to dodge their attacks, and I think that's an extremely clever way of incorporating some more traditional Mario platforming elements into a game about tennis, adding an extra layer of fun and challenge. Then each of the adventure mode levels are timed, and I normally don't like time challenges, but here it makes a lot of sense. Instead of having health, you lose time when you take damage or miss shots, again making it a little more like a traditional experience. Time is basically your health. Unfortunately, the genuine joys of adventure mode are few. If I can boil it all down to one thing, it's that it feels like Nintendo went to Camelot, told them to make an adventure mode in the next Mario Tennis game, and gave them about 8 months to do it. It's like the start of an idea. You know that cutscene that Nintendo used to jazz everyone up? Holy cow, in this game Luigi gets taken over by an evil spirit and turns Wario and Waluigi into his minions? This is some Super Paper Mario levels of cool here. We're in for a wild ride. Well, what if I told you that this under 30-second cutscene right here and a 12-second cutscene at the end were all you get? The rest is just talking heads. And I'm perfectly fine with cheaper talking heads doing the bulk of the storytelling and holding up a few expensive CG cutscenes. You gotta cut costs somewhere, I guess. But there's so little to actually watch here that I wonder why they even bothered with the CG stuff. If anything, the short intro just gets your hopes up. You go through the entire story waiting for more, and more just never happens. Then the story is just nothing. I mean, it doesn't live up to its potential to even the tiniest degree. I won't spoil the ending, but I'll say that none of it is satisfying. The whole thing with Luigi and the racket, it all amounts to nothing. I wasn't expecting Shakespeare here, and I wasn't even expecting something as deep as the GBA story mode, but I at least expected a little more than this. It's like if you're gonna have a story, have a story. The bare bones plot would absolutely be easier to forgive if the campaign had a little meat to it, but this mode is short. Beat it in an afternoon short. You're walking around this massive map, passing over nodes that just don't have levels on them. It's like, what happened there? Each of the 5 environments contain a teeny tiny handful of challenges. And this would be easier to forgive if what we got was really good, if there was a great amount of variety in the levels we did have, but it reuses the same handful of concepts again and again, sometimes with only the slightest changes. There are these teeny little glimmers of inspired design that shine through, but oh, done with that, moving right along. Let's knock down the same exact panels again, but with a little less time on the clock. Adventure mode features some RPG elements as well, and this is another sounded like a dream come true situation. Playing levels earns you experience, and when you level up, you increase your various stats. You can also earn additional rackets with different stats. Sounds like a heck of a good deal to me. Problem is, none of these changes have a visible effect on the gameplay. I could never really see that I was getting stronger, and the differences in rackets are negligible. I just plowed through the mode without a problem and without ever giving a second thought to how my stats were increasing or how I could be using different rackets in different levels. And there's another problem right there. There are a few good challenges, but as a whole, it's way too easy and there's no difficulty setting. Once you're done, there's nothing else to beat. There's no other incentive to get back in there and get stronger and keep enjoying it. You can't use other characters. Nothing. Once the credits roll, that's it. That was a good afternoon, I guess. What's next? Once more, I say that even an entire disappointing adventure mode would have been easier to forgive if the game otherwise provided a good amount of content, but it doesn't. There are 3 CPU tournaments, and I beat each one on my first try and all in one sitting. I was baffled that this didn't unlock another more challenging tournament. Why isn't there at least one tournament for each CPU difficulty? And as it is with adventure mode, there are no rewards, no scores to chase, nothing to unlock, nothing to keep you coming back. Then, of course, is the star of the show, the online tournament. And hey, this is pretty good. Performance has been good so far, only a little bit of lag, nothing that breaks the game. Fortunately, it hasn't been a problem every time I've joined a tournament, but Bowser Jr. does pose a serious problem. He's preposterously overpowered, and if they don't nerf him, it's gonna hurt the game. So at least for now, even the main attraction has a big issue holding it back. Finally, there's free play, and of course this is how you either go up against your friends or CPU opponents. And for a game that's so focused on multiplayer, there is a serious lack of options here. You can't set how long you want a match to be, and you can't even choose what court you want to play, instead having to manage a list that it randomly pulls from. I know I spent a lot of time on the adventure mode, and I only just started on the other modes, but already I'm struggling to come up with more to say about this game. I usually like to really dig into each mode and mechanic in a game, but there's really nothing left to cover. There's just so little to this game. And after playing it for a solid day, I was done. I felt like I'd done everything. I kept picking it back up, wanting to do more, and realizing that there was nothing left to do. I'll dip into an online tournament every once in a while, and I might play with some friends on occasion, but as far as solo play goes, Mario Tennis Aces has a dearth of content. That's right, this is my first review to use the word dearth. Just compare it to something like Mario Kart 8. A massive variety of tracks, tons of vehicle customization for different driving styles, a long gauntlet of cups with several difficulty settings, parts to unlock, trophies to win, ghosts to race. The biggest selling point is the multiplayer, but there's still plenty of content to keep one person busy. Then the multiplayer options are more limited than I would like. You can hear more about it in my review, but there are still different modes to play and all sorts of options for setting up your own online tournament that you can invite anyone and everyone to. It's not a perfect game, but at least it feels like a full experience. It lives up to that Nintendo standard of quality. It feels like they put a lot of time into it and tried really hard to make it a big game that would really last. The Wii U version was lighter on content, sure, but at least it still had customization and all those cups to run through and trophies to win and a more robust online experience. Mario Tennis Aces, however, just doesn't try. It's happy doing the bare minimum. Adventure Mode was its chance to do more than the bare minimum, but they did the bare minimum with that too. And I know a lot of people are going to tell me that the game doesn't need a lot of content because the multiplayer is the whole point, and on that front, it mostly delivers. And it's true that multiplayer is great and that the core gameplay is really refined and fun, but I don't think that's a good excuse to just not try very hard. The gameplay is good, but it's also really simple with no customization or progression. You can't take any old game and say that it's automatically worth $60 just because it's intended to be played online, especially considering soon we'll have to pay extra for that privilege. If you're a Mario Tennis freak and you're happy playing endless matches with little to no variation and no goals or rewards, hey, you can't go wrong here. More power to you. When you're in it, playing tennis, it's fun as heck. Get some friends together and you'll have a great time. But I'm getting deja vu from my Kirby Star Allies review, because as a relative newcomer to the series, I was not impressed with what the game had to offer. The Switch started its life by giving me full console experiences in handheld form, but now it's starting to feel a little like it wants to give me lighter handheld experiences at full console prices. Mario Tennis Aces is a fun experience that's a little too simple to keep my attention for long, so I place it on the middle of the scale, 4 out of 7. Before we go, it's time for an Arlo Direct. Arlopalooza 2018! Woo! Planning has already begun, and right now we're trying to judge how many people are interested in going. If you haven't heard of Arlopalooza before, it's an event we held last year in Redding, California. We all got together and played games and did Mario Kart and Splatoon tournaments, and it was awesome. It was the best time in the whole world. Go watch the recap video if you haven't already. This year it'll be in the same city, most likely on Saturday, October 6th, but nothing is set in stone right now. I will be charging for tickets this year, and I don't know how much yet, but it's probably not going to be very much. I really just want to help pay for the venue. Point is, if you're interested in going, head down to the description of this video and RSVP to the Facebook event linked there. It's just a mock event. This isn't really you RSVPing officially, and I know that technically anyone can RSVP and mess this whole thing up, but I'm asking that you only do so if you're really seriously interested in going, like you live nearby and you're 95% sure you can go. This way we can get at least a very vague estimate of how many people are interested and how big of a venue we should get. It's going to be a ton of fun this year, even better than last year. Maybe we'll even play some Mario Tennis, who knows? But check out the last one, and if you're down, let me know. I'll keep this mock event up for a week or two, and I'll get back to you with more solid info very soon. Tune in next time for another mystifying Arlo Direct. This video was edited by the very talented Farfetched Reviews. Go check out his channel right now. This video was also brought to you in part by my Patreon patrons, all of whom I love very, very dearly. But it was brought to you in largest part by these guys right here, my top patrons. Don't they just have the loveliest names you've ever seen? If you're interested in helping me run the channel, you can head on over to my Patreon page where you can get the scoop on super secret upcoming videos for as little as $1 a month. Thank you for watching, and you have a beautiful day!